Hey everybody, it's Grimmy. A couple weeks ago, I did a video about Snowstorm, who is a main character for my part in the comic Entropy at Eventide. He's serious, organised, driven, and short-tempered with a small soft side that not many get to see. Storm was created as a Dungeons & Dragons character. Mikazaal, on the other hand, is a character from my story The Offbeats, who I adapted into a D&D character. Specifically, he's a blue tiefling. I did make a character sheet for him and gave him a backstory, but I changed it slightly to fit the story of Entropy at Eventide. Here is his story summarized. Mikazaal was born as a slave, his parents both being slaves as well, and grew up as one in human civilization. His main job as a slave was to serve drinks and food, and generally just look pretty. At first he didn't rebel, but by the time he became a young adult, Mikazaal had been stealing from his master. He wanted his freedom and would get it in any way possible. He grew an affinity for lying and hiding ulterior intentions. Mikazaal still acted like the perfect slave he had always been, but really he was creating a plan to escape his master and live a life of freedom. Unfortunately for him, Mikazaal was caught red-handed by his master stealing from her personal quarters. His master was a powerful woman with a long royal lineage, and what she said goes, so Mikazaal was in deep trouble. He was thrown into jail, his death being scheduled for the next day. Out of sheer desperation to survive, Mikazaal struggled all night to break the rusty prison bars. It took a long time, but he eventually managed, climbing out of the prison and returning to the slave living quarters. Since it was still incredibly early in the morning, and nobody but a few guards were awake, he decided that if he was going to escape, he was going to create as much chaos as he could. Grabbing his bag of stolen goods and putting on a stolen outfit, Mikazaal sneaked around the entire property of his master, stealing whatever he would be able to carry. Small family heirlooms, jewelry, foods, money, etc. Knowing the property inside out, he was able to avoid getting caught this time round, as there was barely anybody awake. Once he had stolen as many goods as he could carry, including a ruby gold ring that his master was particularly fond of, Mikazaal escaped and ran far away from this place. He became a charlatan, moving from town to town and tricking people out of their money. His typical scheme is using people's kindness and weaknesses against them for his advantage. Mikazaal loves the control he has over people when he is successful, and loves the freedom being able to do what he wants when he wants without anybody ordering him. Because of this, along with the fact that he's being hunted by his master, and the threat of his execution looming over him at all time, Mikazaal is always on the move. Staying in one place for too long will give his pursuers a higher chance to catch him, so he works hard to cover up his tracks and avoid crossing the paths of his master or any of her soldiers. The story I'm writing for this comic project is called The Runaway Prince and an Escaped Slave, and Mikazaal is the escaped slave of that title. In the story, Mikazaal has found his way to the coastal town of Eventide and is in a bar called the Grumpy Goose. Then Storm finds him. And that's all I can really say. This comic is being made and in the works, unlike all my other stories. I'm live streaming every Saturday where I'm drawing the pages of the comic. I'm almost halfway done with the comic, so it's all coming together slowly. Although I'd be lying if I said I haven't been procrastinating a little bit. Anyway, we're not here to point my flaws, or at least I'm not here to do that. So this is a speed paint about Mikazaal, my other main character in my comic. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, if you do have Twitter, Instagram or Facebook, my group has made accounts so that you can see our progress. Links to our social media will be in the description if you're interested. I hope you enjoyed the video and thanks for watching. Bye bye!